In this video, Sammy's going to show you how to replace the front brake pads and rotors on a Chevy Cruze.
Want to take off your lug nuts using a 19mm. You can use a breaker bar, but I'd suggest using Milwaukee. Now, take the wheel off. And here's the brake caliper with the pads inside and the brake rotor. We're going to be changing the pads and the rotor. So first step's going to be to take the top caliper part off, and that is going to be two 10mm bolts back here. And just to get, because you can't really fit a socket, so we're just going to take this brake hose here, just pop it off its bracket. And then you can see now you can fit the socket. Just going to take this off. And sometimes you may see this little nut here move. You could just slide a wrench or some pliers over that. These shouldn't be too tight. Here are the bolts, just two normal 10s. Now we just kind of grip this, take it off. That's your caliper. Next step is going to take this bracket off. You're going to feel there's one bolt here, another one right here. But what I like to do first is I like to make sure the caliper depresses. So what we could do is put a brake pad here, and then you can use a C-clamp or a big channel lock and squeeze it down, because you want to make sure this depresses before you take all this off and find out you need a caliper. Then I like to take my big old channel locks, get them up like that. And then you want to support this against something and start squeezing. You'll see the pistons are slowly depressing, so just keep adding constant pressure. You know when it's fully depressed, when it just won't move anymore like it does there. So now we can get on to taking the rest of everything off. And always be sure, don't let this hang by the hose. So you want to put it up here or something, or zip tie it up to the coil. Because if it hangs by here, it's going to break. The bracket bolts are 18mm, which I find a lot of places don't include them in sets, so get a set that has an 18mm. You're just going to want to break these loose. But you know, these are a bit tighter than the others. They'll come. And a good tip is to get on this one, just kind of turn the wheel some this way. So you're going to want to clean all the grease off them that they come with from the factory. With some brake cleaning rag. You're going to take it, slide it on the hub, and then once it's on there, I like to go over it with brake clean one more time just to get anything off that may have gone in there. On there, we're going to open up our pads. I'm going to take these, look at how they're put on. I'm just going to pop them off, take a new one, give them a quick comparison, make sure they look the same, which they do. And you're going to want to get it on there, just push it on, and then do that to the next side. Now that that's on, we're going to bolt the bracket back up to the hub and then put the pads on from there. Now what I like to do is to make it easier, I take a lug nut, just use that to snug the rotor up. You know, the rotor snugged up, it would be a lot easier to bolt this back on. Just want to slide this on in there. Now once they're all threaded in, you're going to want to just go and tighten them up. So the next step, we're going to take some grease here. Then we're just going to take these little slider pins, just pop them out. Because every time you service the brakes, you want to grease these up. Just take a dollop of grease, just rub it on up in there. That way this will prevent them from seizing, which will cause your caliper to get stuck. And it's not good. Then you take it, and just push it back. Just pop this open to bleed out any air. And next to this side. Now we're going to take our brake shoes. You're going to notice one has, or not shoes, but pads. You notice this has a squealer. This goes inside, and the one without the squealer, see it's a bit different. This goes in this one. So we're just going to take a little bit of grease and just kind of wet it on the edges where it rides on the shims. You don't want too much, just enough. Now that that's on, we're just going to take it, just kind of slide it in. Just like that. We're going to take the other side, put a little bit of grease on the edges. We're going to go up behind it, slide it in. Now if you see any grease that may have gotten anywhere, spray some brake clean on a rag and just kind of wipe it off. Take our caliper, make sure that the hose isn't twisted. Remember, we did pop it out of its little bracket, so we're just gonna slide it back in there. Make sure you're sliding it in the correct way. And now that's slid in, we're just gonna place this on top. Just like that. Take our bolts for it. Get them started by hand. And you really just want these bolts snug. Make sure your brake hose is clipped back in the bracket. Now we put the tire back on. Now that the wheel is back on, put the lug nuts on it. And send her home with an impact. Then torque this back.